Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. This video is one of my subscriber has requested how to display multiple tables in a single view page without using entity framework. And here we got the final output. Notice the header tags, multiple tables in a single view page without using entity framework. Below that, the first table is a country table, second one is a state table, and the third one is a city table. We have binded 3 tables in a single view page without using entity framework. That's it. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in MVC, first we'll check the tables in SQL Server database. For this demo purpose, I am using 3 tables. One is a country table which contains 2 columns, CID and CNAME, and the second table is a state table which contains 3 columns, SID, SNAME and CID, and the last table is a city table which contains 3 columns. Now let's bind these 3 tables into a single view page without using entity framework. For this video tutorial, I am creating a new MVC application. Go to File, New, Project, and from the web templates I am selecting ASP.NET Web Application and the .NET Framework I am using 4.6.1. The application name is Multiple Tables, One View without using entity framework is the project name. Click OK. And from the ASP.NET templates I'm selecting MVC. OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Now first in this project we'll add the data connection. Open Solution Explorer, right click the data connections, add connection. I'm adding SQL Server name is. After adding SQL Server name, now I'm selecting the database name. The tables I have created in the sample DB database, so I'm selecting the sample DB. Test connection is succeeded. OK. And here the sample db.dbo is added under data connections. Now we require the data source of the sample db.dbo. Right click the sample db.dbo, go to properties. In the properties there is a connection string which contains the data source. Copy that one. Now open Solution Explorer. Now in the project there is a web.config file. Open that one. And notice in the web.config file there is already a connection string with the default connection. So I'm creating a new connection. Add name is equals to my connection. The connection string, I'm pasting the data source which I have copied. Provide a name which is a system.data.sql client. After adding the connection string, now the next step, open Solution Explorer. Let's add a new controller in this controllers folder. Right click the controllers, add controller. I'm selecting MVC for controller empty, add. The controller name is multiple tables, add. And here we got our MVC controller multiple tables. Now first I'm adding the namespaces using system.data, and the next namespace using system.data.sql client, and the last one using system.configuration. After adding the necessary namespace to connect the database, now we require the model classes. Open Solution Explorer. Now let's create a classes in this models folder. Right click the models folder, add the class. The class name is the country class add. Now this country class contains only the properties, definitions, public int. In our country table we have two columns, CID and CNAME. So let's add two properties, CID get set and public string CNAME get set. Now let's add another model. I click the model, I click the models folder, add class. Now the class name is the state class, add. Now in the state class I am declaring the public properties, public int. In our state table we have three columns, SID, SNAME and CID. Let's add three columns here, SID get set, public string SNAME get set, and the last one is a public int CID get set. Now let's add another class for the city table, add class city, add. And in the city class let's add the properties, public int city ID get set. In the city table also we have three columns, city ID, city name and SID. Public string city name get set, public int SID get set. After adding the multiple classes in this models folder, now let's switch back again to our controller, add the namespace using my project name is multiple tables, one view without entity framework dot models folder. After that let's create a new HTTP method, HTTP get method, public, in the list class. In the list class I am adding the class name, the country class. First I am binding the country class, country. Let's create a connection string main con is equals to configuration manager dot connection strings. Between double quotes I'm adding my connection string name, which is my connection. Copy that one, add here, dot connection string SQL connection SQL con is equals to new SQL connection. I'm adding main con. After that the string SQL query, the country, select asterisk star form, the table name is the country table, semicolon, SQL con.open method. Let's close the connection string with the close method. Now between open and close I'm adding SQL command, SQL com is equals to new SQL command. The SQL command takes two parameters. The first one is the commanded text. We are getting the command text from this SQL query country, comma, and the second parameter is the connection object, which is the SQL con. Copy this one and paste here, semicolon, SQL data adapter SDR is equals to new SQL data adapter, which takes the parameter SQL command object. After that data table dt is equals to new data table SDR dot fill method. I am filling the data with the data table object. Now I am using for each loop to fetch the rows for each data row dr in dd.rows property. Now in this for loop I am adding the class object country class cc1 is equals to new country class cc1 dot the property from the country class, first one cid, is equals to dr the column name cid dot toString method semicolon, and this column is an integer type, so we need to convert that to int32. cc1 dot cname is equals to dr the second column name is a cname, let's add that one, cname dot toString method. Then I'm adding these rows into this object cc, the list country class, cc dot add method cc1. After connection close method return cc1 cc. Now this object is returning. That's it. Now let's create the second method for the state. Instead of writing the same code, copy this one, paste here. Here instead of country class I am adding the state class from this class name. The method name is a state. Let's change this object name state class, copy this one and paste here, and the query is a select star from the table name is a state, copy this one, paste here, and I'm changing the query variables SQL query state, copy this one. In the SQL command I'm adding the SQL query state. After that state class I'm changing the object also sc1 dot. In the state class we have three properties. First one is the sid is equals to, let's add this one here, the column name is sid, sc1 dot sname is equals to dr between double quotes. The second column name is sname dot toString method, and the last one sc1 dot cid, which is a country id, dr cid the column name dot toString method. And this is the integer type. We need to convert that to int32, and here sc dot sc1 I'm adding these rows into this list class, return sc. Now let's add the third table. This one is the city method. In the list, the T type, I'm adding the class name, which is a city class. Copy this one, city class. Wherever the state class, I'm changing into city class. And this one is a city object. And this one I'm adding SQL query city is a variable. The table name is a select star from city. Copy this one, paste here, and here this one city object 1, city object 1 dot the property is a city ID is equals to, let's add this one here. Instead of SID, I'm adding city ID, the column name in the table, city ID. City object dot city name is equals to dr, between double quotes I'm adding city name, the column name, toString method. The last one is a city object 1 dot SID is a state ID, dr, between double quotes the column name is SID toString method. I don't require these two, let's delete that one. And this SID column is an integer type, so let's copy this one, convert to int32. And here city object, I'm adding the rows, city object 1, and the return type city object. That's it. Up to now we have added the functionality to fetch the records from 3 tables into this city method, state and country method. Now let's call these methods in this action result index using viewBag.mess country names is equals to, I'm adding this country method name, viewBag dot state names is equals to the state method, semicolon, viewBag dot city name is equals to the method name is a city method. Semicolon. That's it. We have called the methods country, state and city in this action result index method. And this viewBag dot country name, state name and city name, with the help of these viewBags, I'm displaying the data in the index view page. First we have to build the application, build solution. And here we got a message, build succeeded. Let's close this output message box. Now let's add the index view page. Highlight the index method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is index only. The template, I'm not adding any template, empty without model only, I'm leaving like that. Add. And here we got our index view page. Now first in this index view page, I'm changing the headers. Let's put this in the center tag, small c. multiple tables in a single view page without using entity framework. After that, I'm adding horizontal line. Now after the horizontal line, the first table H3 is a country table, HR horizontal line. I'm adding a table, the border is equals to 1. In this table I'm adding tr, table headers. One is a country ID and the second table header is a country name. In the country table we have only two columns, country ID and country name. After that, to display the records in this view page, I'm using for each loop, and for each, and before adding this we must add one important I'm adding multiple tables dot models. Now in this for each loop I'm adding the country class COU in. I'm adding the viewback.country names. tr td at COU dot the column name CID td at COU dot the second column name is CNAME. That's it. Now let's create the second table. Copy this one. I'm adding horizontal line. The second table is a state table which contains three columns: state ID, state name, table headers is a city ID. Now in the for each loop I'm adding the class name of this state class. The object is equals to st in. Let's add the viewBag dot state name to get the state method records. At st dot sld td at st dot sname td at st dot cid. Now the last one, the city table we require. Copy this part, paste here. Let's change the header. Instead of city table, state table, I'm adding city table. In the city table we have three columns: city ID, city name and state ID. In the for each loop I'm adding city class in. Let's get the viewback.city name. Add this one here. And city is a city class object. td at city dot city ID td at city dot city name td at city dot sld. That's it. We have done the complete coding part to bind multiple tables into a single view without using entity framework. Now before run this application, the most important, we have to change the controller name. To change the controller name, open Solution Explorer. In the project there is a app_start folder, expand that one. Notice the fourth one is a route config.cs file. Open that one. And notice the controller is the home, which is a default one. Let's delete that one. Our controller name is multiple tables. This is the MVC controller name I'm adding here. And the action result is the index view page, which is this one, index.cshtml. That's it. Now it's time to check the results on the browser Google Chrome. And here we got the final output. Notice the header tags, multiple tables in a single view page without using entity framework. Below that, the first table is a country table, second one is a state table, and the third one is a city table. We have binded 3 tables in a single view page without using entity framework. That's it.